Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. As always, this is your host, Stewart Kraintz. Got another awesome episode for you today. Please be sure to hit like, hit subscribe. And as always, the cost of admission to your inside track to success is free. So please, please, please share this out with at least one individual that you know would gain value from a show like this. Again, the purpose of this show is to really just change the world, support people in creating the lives of their dreams, one conversation, one message at a time. Please do your part in sharing it out with somebody else just to make sure that the impact is amplified. And who knows, you never know when my words or the words of one of our guests are going to resonate with somebody and make a difference in their lives. So, want to jump right in today. Had a lot on my mind, a lot on my heart. Been going through a lot of life changes over here in my personal life. Maybe not going to get into all of them into great detail, but I want to talk to you guys today about the concept of self-worth. And more importantly, what are you worth? Like, what are you worth in the world? We hear a lot on Instagram, on social media, YouTube, wherever you are consuming your content these days about what someone's net worth is. You know, it's like every other day, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or whoever is leapfrogging one another for the title of richest man on earth. Net worth is in the trillions of dollars, more than you can possibly fathom. They actually have so much money that they can spend it as fast as they can and never run out of it, like just because of how it works, if you really want to get into the weeds on the math. But folks, I want to reiterate for you all that high net worth, as in financial worth, has nothing to do with what you are worth as a person. Has nothing to do with the impact you're making in the world, has nothing to do with how good of a servant you are to your community, to your family, to God. It has nothing to do with any of those things. And most importantly, it has nothing to do with who you are and what you see when you look at that person in the mirror. Like, how does that person feel about themselves? What is their worth? And so, something that was reflected to me recently at a sermon at the church my wife and I go to is that our society, especially in this day and age, and the instant gratification world of social media and everything being on demand, all you have to do is click and swipe, and Amazon Prime's going to send you whatever thing you need within 24 hours. We don't pause and take stock of the value that we provide and we create within our circle of influence. It's not just how much money do you make your boss? How much money do you make the company you work for? What are the intangible ways that you provide value? Maybe you're the glue guy in the office, the glue gal. Maybe you're the person that holds it all together when you're going through a great time of stress as a company or as a family or in the community. Maybe you're the person that everybody leans on in your home when times are tough. You see, value is immeasurable. However, we often talk about putting a measure on it. I know that oftentimes on this show, we've talked about goals. We've talked about making sure that goals are measurable, because what you can measure is something that you can actually coach yourself on. You know, always having a benchmark, always having something to strive for, a hurdle to jump over, a bar to get over. But sometimes success, y'all, isn't about creating a tangible end result. It's being a voice of reason. It can be having an impact with your family, with your child, just being the safe space for them. So, in this hyper results driven, what have you done for me lately environment, I encourage anybody listening to this, particularly if you're feeling down on yourself, if you are questioning the value that you create, that you are creating for yourself or in the world, remember a couple of things. First of all, because of the speed at which our society moves in particular, you are making a bigger impact have and are of more consequence to the people in your life than they may ever actually fully articulate to you. We have a bias in our society towards expressing the negative. We are much more likely to leave a negative review at a restaurant or any other service than we are to leave a good one or a positive one. I have even had people in regards to this podcast come up to me at a party or when I'm visiting my parents at home, when I'm visiting friends, they'll say like, "Oh yeah, I caught that episode a couple of months back. It was absolutely amazing. It changed my life." I had no idea. They could have told me at any point, but they just didn't. And so trusting that you are creating an impact, that you are doing good in the world is half the battle. It is stepping into faith. It is choosing to believe that taking those swings, so to speak, are going to make the impact over time. Kind of like swinging at a piñata. You can imagine a couple of little kids at a birthday party, blindfolded, taking their turns at the piñata. Maybe the first kid hits it 10 times and nothing happens. Second kid, 10 times, nothing happens. Third kid, 10 times, nothing happens. And then maybe like the fourth, the fifth, the 10th, the 20th child up. Maybe it's just one swing, and that's all it takes to burst the piñata open. And it has nothing to do with that one swing. It has everything to do with the compounding, pounding over time of all the children putting in the effort together to bust that piñata wide open. And so, what I'm getting at here is no matter what you're up to, no matter what your goals are, no matter what you're trying to build, what you're trying to create, whether it's a business or writing a book or starting a podcast or qualifying for some type of athletic competition or just being a more present father and husband, family member, just know that the work you are putting in is having a compound effect slowly but surely each and every day over time. And to that end, I encourage you to keep going. The only way that you can guarantee it'll be a failure is if you quit. Faith, y'all, is about continuing to show up and do the work, continuing to show up and be the best version of yourself, especially when no one's watching, and trusting that the payoff is going to come down the road. Damian Lillard, future NBA Hall of Famer, once said, in order to make a shot in front of 10,000 people, you have to make 10,000 shots in front of nobody. And boy, does that resonate. You get to continue to be the person that you want to be when no one's watching, and eventually you'll be held in that regard because people are going to come to know you in the way that you are choosing to show up as. The way that you aspire to be can only become a reality if you continue to choose to be that person each and every day and take the actions necessary in order to get there. Period. So if you want to be a better husband, better father, better wife, better spouse, better servant to your church, better person, better coach if you're coaching your kids' soccer team or whatever the thing may be, continuing to show up to do the work each and every day is how you continue to get there. Now, unfortunately, we can't dictate how quickly something's going to happen, but not doing the work, not having the faith that the work is going to pay off is going to guarantee that you never reach that milestone. And, I know it's a cliche adage, but when you shoot for the moon and miss, you can at least end up amongst the stars. If you're trying to write the next world renowned young adult novel series, maybe you don't achieve the acclaim of like a Harry Potter or a Twilight or whatever book series you can think of, but maybe you still get published. Maybe a young author in high school writes you back and is like, hey, this book really made a difference in my life. Thank you for writing it. You never know the impact you can have unless you show up to create the impact, quite frankly. Full disclosure, y'all, this show is nowhere near as big as I intend for it to get. And I know that if I quit, not only am I quitting on myself, but I'm quitting on you. I'm quitting on any of the future people that the show can impact. And I'm quitting on the world. I'm quitting on giving my gifts to the world. And so I continue to show up each and every week, putting out at least an episode, making sure it's posted everywhere I can get it posted, doing my best to promote it, doing my best to get amazing, relevant, knowledgeable experts on the show because it matters. It matters that I show up. The world needs whatever I have and it needs whatever you have because the world is struggling. It's in a difficult place right now. Lots of division, lots of animosity, lots of haves and have-nots. Only you can create an impact in your circle of influence the way you can. So please continue to show up because not only are your dreams and goals worth it, but the world is worth it. If you define the world as just your family, just your kids, just your spouse, just your relationship with your creator, it is entirely worth it, y'all, to continue to show up. But only you can make the choice to do that. Only you can decide that your goals and dreams are worth it. So keep taking those swings at that piñata. Keep going. Now, the flip side, y'all, to not giving up on your goals or your dreams is to remember we build self-confidence by keeping our promises to ourselves, but only if we acknowledge ourselves for what it is that we have done, especially if we're moving outside of our comfort zone in order to do it. So think about it this way. If you're doing anything creative, I want you to acknowledge the fact that you're putting yourself out there in a world that demands perfection all the time and likes to shun people for trying. That's huge, y'all. The courage that it takes to continue to put yourself out there, to show up, to give it your best, even if your best maybe doesn't feel as good as somebody you see on Instagram or YouTube. It doesn't matter. Like, you are actually more heroic to the people in your circle of influence because you're showing up with the bravery, with the courage to put yourself out there, to put your creative work out there, to put a piece of yourself out there. So celebrate that, acknowledge it, and then keep going. Keep putting yourself out there. Keep putting the pieces of yourself out there. And you know what? The haters are going to hate. That means you're on to something because you're stirring up something in them that's causing them to lash out like that. But that also means that you're putting something out there of high enough quality to elicit a response. So keep going, keep hammering, keep pounding away at that piñata. Keep it moving. And again, acknowledge yourself every step along the way. Because as you continue to put yourself out there, as you acknowledge yourself for doing so, as you acknowledge yourself for taking risks, you will continue to change how you look at yourself when you look in the mirror. Your confidence will grow, your credibility with yourself will grow, and you'll begin to see your worth. You'll begin to see how you are creating an impact, but only if you allow yourself to see it. I personally believe that everybody on this earth has unlimited potential, and it's unfortunately up to us to unlock it for ourselves. But y'all, it is totally possible. Maybe you're the next great guitarist. Maybe maybe you are the next great orator meant to give speeches in front of stages of people, in front of hundreds and hundreds or thousands of people. You don't know if you don't start putting yourself out there. So I acknowledge anybody that has listened to this episode this far. Keep showing up for yourself, keep doing the work, and keep acknowledging yourself for what you're up to. Something that has really helped me is to have a journal each and every night, journaling a little bit on how I showed up today bravely and acknowledging myself for that. When you see that, when you write that out and when you see that written out for yourself and you actually take the time to pause and take stock, y'all, it's really hard to get down on yourself because oftentimes we miss those little moments at like, 10 a.m. I sent a risky text to somebody to have them on my podcast and I didn't hear back from them. That's okay. But I sent the message and I fought through all the feelings and all the limiting beliefs and I still did it anyway. Celebrate it. Doesn't matter how small. I saw a post on Instagram. A guy was like, I fought through my depression today and I went for a walk. Heck yeah, dude. Like, acknowledge that because that guy is out there making a difference in his life for himself and was brave enough to post about it on social media. And I guarantee you at least one other person saw that and was like, oh man, I can do the same for myself. If he can do it, I can do it too. That man not only exhibited great self-worth in that moment, but worthiness to the world. Doesn't have to be that difficult, guys. Show up for yourself because the world needs you to. Being the example is what the world needs. It doesn't have to look any particular way. You don't have to have a million Instagram followers. You don't have to have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in the bank. You don't need to be a household name. You don't need to be the number one in the world at any particular thing. You just get to be the best version of you. And that is going to be the most worthy version of yourself. I guarantee it. And so if you've listened this far, please go out there and be great today. Wherever you are listening to this, whenever you're listening to this, doesn't matter. You can make a difference right now. If you're putting off going to the gym, go to the gym. Take the gym selfie. It doesn't matter if you're jacked or not. Take the gym selfie, post it or not. But the point is, like, do the thing for you. Do the thing for you that would move the needle and in some way acknowledge yourself for it because it matters. The world needs you at your best. The people in your life need you at your best. And God, or your creator, whoever that is, designed you to be operating at your best for a reason. There is a purpose behind your existence. And you can only claim it if you're showing up in a certain way. So, y'all, this has been another episode of Your Inside Track to Success. Please like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you catch each and every update as they come through. And we will catch you next week with another guest or message. See you then.